Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Hey guys, we're your hosts, Em and Jay, and today we're reviewing Star number 1. We've been reviewing Captain Marvel 2019 on this channel, and one of the characters from that book ended up getting her own book, but we honestly don't think this was necessary. She was pretty underwritten and was only a background character for most of Captain Marvel's series. Then it was revealed that she was a villain, and it seemed like they were setting her up to do something big in that book, but instead they're going with this spin-off route, and I'm not sure this is what this character needed. Maybe at some point she could have gotten her own book, but now just seems like a weird time. If you haven't been reading Captain Marvel 2019, this exposition dump at the beginning of the book is all you get for context of this character, and it comes off as pretty clunky and awkward. It gives us her backstory in a nutshell, where she was a reporter sent to interview Captain Marvel, but she was kidnapped by Nuclear Man and traumatized by the experience, so she made a deal with a Kree scientist to get superpowers, like you do, but then she almost destroyed New York City, so Captain Marvel sent her to the raft, and she lost her powers, but then the Reality Stone chose her to be its host for some reason, which they never explained, and it's completely unrelated to everything that happened so far with her character, so all this feels pretty disjointed, and now she's just here in her own book, even though there are a lot of questions left unanswered that could be handled in Captain Marvel's book. The cover shows Star flying through the air. I don't think her pose is very flattering. It looks like they put a lot of effort into the top half of her body, but then gave up on the lower half. Her waist is kind of non-existent, and where's her other leg? That being said, I do think her expression does a good job at conveying her personality as Star, pretty smug and determined. I also like the placement of the city. It makes the image really dynamic. It's also not very obvious on the cover, but they gave her an asymmetrical haircut for the book. I'm personally not a big fan of asymmetrical designs. I prefer symmetry, but I guess it fits with her character. The book opens with Star having a nightmare, where she's reliving what happened between her and Carol. She wakes up in a panic, realizing that trauma isn't going away anytime soon, and that it's not every day Captain Marvel tries to kill you. I understand that someone punching a hole through her chest is traumatic, but it skips over the part where she manipulated New York City, poisoned the water supply, and smacked a child. So, you know, it's not like it was for nothing. Carol did make some stupid mistakes too, but admittedly it wasn't all her fault. She decides to finally get out of her apartment because it's been weeks, and she makes her way to this bar for supervillains. She complains to herself that she spent 2 hours looking for this place, but it actually sucks. The drinks are bad, the company's not great, and for some reason it smells like ham, which she feels the need to tell us several times. These 2 pages are her just sitting at the bar, and it's kind of disappointing. We basically get the same panel, just with small variations, of Star sitting and complaining about her life. This is a comic book. You can do anything, as long as you can draw it. You don't have to worry about limitations because of things like budget or reality, but this feels like a TV drama. This scene is really here to tell us a bunch of exposition, rather than showing us. We learned she lost her job because of the situation in New York. Now she has no money or friends, but she does have a lot of enemies. But did we need 2 pages of her sitting at a bar to tell us this? But Star is interrupted by Titania. Apparently she's sitting in her seat. She wants Star to move and threatens to beat her up if she doesn't, but Star decides to challenge her. I'm not sure why. She was just complaining that this place sucks, and it's just a seat. Maybe she's trying to prove something to herself. The bartender tries to break them up, but Star refuses to let it go, and Titania doesn't care. She uses the Reality Stone to get her costume on, and to make her strong, but Titania isn't impressed and just punches her right through a window. Star realizes that she should have been more specific, like say be stronger than Titania, or she could have just not fought Titania at all. Maybe she should just focus on practicing with her powers for right now, cause this is just gonna happen again if she doesn't. Before she can get up to continue the fight, she gets knocked out by someone with tiny horns on his hat. I like that little detail, it's cute. She wakes up to find that Loki chained her to a slab of concrete. She asks what's going on, and he explains that he's going to try to get the Reality Stone out of her chest, and then he just starts getting to work on it, explaining the entire time this is going to be for her own good and for the good of the universe. I'm sure he'll find some way to benefit off of this, but he's not wrong either. It would also be nice if they actually explained how the Reality Stone ended up in her chest to begin with. I understand that it chose her, but why? Why Ripley of all people? Regardless, it doesn't work, so I guess the stone is really bonded with her. He again reiterates that he's not trying to be evil, and he warns her that having the Reality Stone is going to cause her a lot of problems. They also let us know that you can read Infinity Wars if you want to see what Loki's talking about. He also warns her that the Infinity Stones can end worlds, and now one is in the hands of someone who has no idea what she's doing, so this can't end well. But then Star gets really cocky, and uses the Reality Stone against him, setting him on on fire. Then she walks away admitting that she needs help. Maybe instead of burning bridges with Loki, you could have tried to get him as an ally? I get that it's Loki, but still. It's not like she has very many options. Pretty much everybody hates her. Loki gets back up and grumbles about how he should really tell somebody about this. Personally, if I were him, I'd try to get as far away from this situation as possible, but that's probably not an option considering it's an Infinity Stone. Meanwhile, there are some people who are also after the Infinity Stone, although we aren't given any context for who they are. I have no idea if these are new characters or if they're established from another comic, but I don't really care enough to Google it. Honestly, they look like background characters. There's nothing that stands out about their designs. Maybe these are inconspicuous human disguises? Apparently this girl was supposed to bring back donuts, but they refer to them as things, so it kind of implies that they aren't from around here. Hopefully we'll get something interesting with them, but they only appear for this one page, and it kind of breaks up the flow of the comic, and we don't learn anything interesting about them other than the fact that they're after Ripley, and that they like donuts? But I honestly don't care about them right now. We don't really get a reason to care about them, so moving on. It then cuts to Star trying to go to Jessica Jones for help, but Jessica isn't having it. She's mad about Star going after Carol, and what happened in New York, and she tries to kill her. You know, Star escaped from the raft. Do they want her back? I mean, if Jessica's gonna kill her, she might need to let the raft know. Might have been a smarter move for Star to make a deal with Loki than try to go to Jessica Jones. But she uses the Reality Stone to try to control Jessica, forcing her to want to help her more than she wants anything else. Star might not know Jessica's backstory, but this is probably the worst decision she could make right now. Jessica picks up a paperweight and just starts beating her with it. She tells her that she's really bad at mind control, and she would know. Because yes, helping her is the most important thing to her right now, but there's still a lot of other things that are important to her too, like killing her where she stands. Star does manage to make herself unbreakable, and she tells Jessica she's gonna regret that. But then Scarlet Witch shows up out of nowhere, which could have been cool, except they made her dialogue really cringy. She basically tells Star that she's messing everything up, but in a really obnoxious way. She sounds like the Californians from that SNL skit. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to knock this off right now. You're screwing everything up, Ripley, and I do mean everything. The only thing she's missing is giving her driving directions, but that's where this comic ends. This whole issue with Star being beat up, it doesn't really make me feel for her. I'm just kind of annoyed by her. She's causing a lot of her own problems, and instead of figuring that out, she's just doubling down. Plus she has this MacGuffin in her chest that makes her important, so it comes off as if she's forced to be important, like Marvel really wanted to have this book, and it just doesn't feel natural. Overall, this book was really frustrating. It didn't answer any of our questions from Captain Marvel, and I don't think we learned anything new about her. She's still making terrible decisions, but we already knew that, and there's nothing here that's new that's making me want to keep reading, even with Scarlet Witch, especially with how flanderized she ended up being. I know this is a first issue, and people might say you had to give it more of a chance before you really drop a book, but that's a lot to ask when each issue is $3.99, and a first issue does need to be more memorable. I just don't feel like she's being given any more depth as a main character. But that's our review. What did you guys think? Do you think Star deserved her own book? Or do you think it would have been a better move to have her be the bad guy instead of Vox Supreme in Carol's current issues? If you enjoyed this video, you can leave a like and subscribe to this channel to see more content like this. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone. Bye guys.